Good morning. It's the morning of September 28, 2018, which you'll mark as the day after uh, uh, Christine Ford testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee in connection with the confirmation hearings pertaining to Judge Brett Kavanaugh. And I have to say that what has transpired has led to a conundrum, that meaning a difficult problem. And this is a kind of difficult problem juries face. In other words, where you have two uh, diametrically opposed positions on a set of facts, and a jury in a trial has to resolve them. It's interesting to note that, especially in trials involving sex crimes, uh, the jury is typically instructed that it can base its decision solely upon the testimony of the alleged victim, uh, to the exclusion of other evidence if it finds the victim's testimony to be credible, and more credible than the other evidence that's offered, even if it's other witnesses and documents and so on and so forth. So in a trial, the jury is the ultimate decider of fact, and only under rare circumstances can the trial judge overturn their decision on the facts. So that's the case even under the standard of proof in a criminal case, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. Of course, this is the jury of public opinion that we're witnessing now. People have heard the testimony of both Christine Ford and Brett Kavanaugh, diametrically opposed. And so the conundrum is there. What should be done? On the one hand, we know that there have been a number of situations in which delayed reporting of sexual assault cases have ultimately proved to be true, and people have been convicted in criminal court proceedings. We also know that at least in this circumstance, that the accused, Brett Kavanaugh, has a extensive history of what appears to be decent and honorable behavior and service. So there we have it. I've heard from a number of people who have expressed to me that the problem they have is they find both parties credible, and therein lies the conundrum. The verdict initially is going to be by the Senate of the United States, and then shortly after, the Court of Public Opinion, in the form of voters across the nation, will probably also weigh in, on this series of events. At any rate, if you feel confused or you feel, have conflicted feelings about it, there's nothing wrong with you, because this is a very, very tough issue, and I can certainly understand the passions on both sides of things. So, as I say, time will tell, and we shall see how this all plays itself out. The facts are are limited to what we've heard in the hearings. I will say that there have been a number of documents admitted by the committee, apparently both pro and con, with respect to the accuser and accused. So we know that there's a lot of that going on. But again, people haven't had the benefit of having these all read into the record, or not heard them all read into the record. We also have some proceedings in which there were redacted documents. Judge Kavanaugh mentioned that yesterday, and so we're not necessarily sure what that's all about. So to some degree, we're not as fully informed as the Senate Judiciary Committee and ultimately the members of the Senate of the United States. Obviously, this has the unfortunate influence of political jockeying and that sort of thing, which has certainly not helped people to gain a greater understanding of it. The fact of the matter is that in the United States of America, we more than anybody air our differences in public. And of course, with social media, that's expanded to even a greater level. My view on this has always been in favor of free speech, and everybody that wants to get their ideas or opinions out there, more power to them. At any rate, I will say that regardless of what happens with respect to the confirmation, this is going to be a long-standing wound, on probably both parties. I think there's a lot of argument that Christine Ford was manipulated in a lot of ways by basically outing her when she said she didn't want that, and by bringing her to Washington. Apparently, she was not told that the committee agreed to go to her and take her testimony. At any rate, as they say, bon voyage, we'll see what happens. This is Tom Swanson, Law of the Streets. Have a good one.